So Gamma is set to unwind next week as we finish up this options expiration for the month of May. And here's what you need to know about that. It is Friday, May 16th, 2025. If you give the video a thumbs up, it makes me happy. Hopefully it'll make you happy too. Can't promise anything, but I'd like it if you did. Subscribe to the channel as well, and come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. We've got some awesome stuff we're about to roll out this weekend. Everything goes well here, so some nice little upgrades into the trading room, which I'm very excited about. But anyway, let's get into it here today. So market's just kind of another float here. If you caught the video yesterday, I would say nothing has really changed here as far as my thoughts on the matter. We did have a nice gap up, little minor dip here, and this was like 45 minutes after Michigan, which came out pretty poor. But again, you should know during OPEX day, you never really want to expect follow through. We did get follow through today to the upside. There is still some interest sitting up there at, well, we're probably going to close below 59.50 would be my guess. But there's interest up at 595 on SPY. These guys are so offsides here on the ODTE guys. If they, there you see the 595. They got that up to LG1, which is crazy. We started the day at like 591. I've seen this before. I mean, it's not going to happen today, but it's like the way that these dealers are positioned. I've seen futures desks like be able to run these guys over before when they get this offsides, but again, it's OPEX, and by run over I mean like they just raid the tape for like the last 2 hours of the day. But nonetheless, if we have a nice melt up here, it's OPEX day. You don't want to get too aggressive here. Look at how tight the range is, and look at the buy. I mean, look at the ES here. Just look at this buy program, the 5-minute 20 MA, just kind of floating up until that little micro dip here. And every one of these moves is so programmed. Look at how tight, right? But we might see a little smackdown here in the next 3 minutes as we get ready for the close, just to close us a tick below 59.50. But again, it's not of any consequence here. I still think there is possibility of upside here to 6,000, like I said. And again, we're on halfway there now, so we could easily get there Monday or Tuesday. But lots of gamma rolling off. A lot. Specifically call gamma. You might, if this might sound confusing because I've talked about puts decaying rapidly over the last couple of weeks, and that's what led to the squeeze. But like as of Monday, those puts were already torched. Heck, even most of them were probably cooked. Even halfway on this way up here. So if you're buying puts for May expiry down here, pretty much here, they were really decaying. So they're getting kind of roasted here. It's the Mag 7, right? And we're actually seeing it right now. It feels like this is up 1 trillion% right now, but it's really just like a couple bucks ahead of where it was, 2 days ago. It hasn't even taken out yesterday's high. IWM basically sitting at Monday's high, of the week. The Dow, essentially the same thing up until today. It did manage to get a nice break above these moving averages, but nonetheless, what I'm trying to say here is that, we're kind of just grinding up here. But all that is going to roll off next week. We also have BOJ here. There's been some rumors about they might kind of defend that yield. It is out of control right now. These are things that could affect the market. Why didn't Michigan affect us today? Because we have the pinning effect right now, and there's lots of dispersion. Volatility is suppressed. That will change next Wednesday. So again, overall, I would think that we can maybe see 6,000, but I would be a little surprised if we just melted up without any sort of corrective move here. We've been parabolic for 5 days in a row, and actually we've been parabolic since the 21st. So pretty impressive move here, and it's definitely squeezed farther than I thought. I did sell my last runner longs right here on Wednesday, so I missed 50 points maybe of upside on ES, and really didn't miss much on NQ. But nonetheless, impressive melt up here. So next week there is a little bit of a window of weakness, but we've done, just to be clear, we've done way too much damage. In fact, on Monday, I told you guys straight up, that's all I needed to see. So the most likely path here now is all-time highs. That was as of Monday. Just all I needed to see was that gap. That doesn't mean we can't come down and maybe fill it, but that's power. That's a very powerful move there. So right now, little stretch, little extended. I still, I'm looking at NQ. It's probably not a coincidence that it is kind of underperforming. Again, I maintain this trend line here. Very, very, very important bull market trend line. We broke that. That's what led to the bear. And there's the closing bell. And we're managing to hold above the 786 on the weekly, so I'll give it that too. And then we have the 21.5 pivot just above that. That's been a huge. It's actually 21. It's like 21.7 now because of the contract adjustment. It used to be 21.5. Right above that, we have there on NQ. So very, very impressive move, but very stretched here in the low time frames. IWM, again, firming up a little bit here. Still needs to do a little bit more, I think. And then we have the Dow, again, nice job closing above all moving averages on the weekly, right, and the daily. On the weekly close, daily moving averages and the weekly moving averages. So nice move there for the diamond. We also talked about, UNH yesterday. I just wrote an article if you guys are interested on UNH and healthcare. And if we do see a pullback in technology, I think that healthcare could be a sector that rotates in. That's on the website there, but I can just go over that. And speaking of UNH, another nice move here today did start to work its way back towards 300, but this was just an amazing level here. And again, if we have all that, gamma unclenching on the Qs due to that decay no longer being there, due to that, the gamma squeezing in general, I think the money goes into a hated sector. By the way, look at this. We still got 2 weeks left in the month, and this is pretty much going to be it is in nominal terms, or excuse me, in real terms, the largest volume we've ever seen in the month. And we have 2 weeks left. Like this right here was volume, yes, higher, but it was when the stock was at $4 a share. It's at 300 now. Massive volume there, beautiful tail candle. But, not to talk my book up, but like I don't have XLV, full disclosure, I have UNH at 258. But love this pattern here too. Nice textbook failed breakdown of the low. Close it below, get everybody to stop out, and then boom. And if we go back farther, and we can just do, this is what I call stacking fibs. So we take this one here, you get the 382 perfectly. And then you take this one, the minor one, and you get a 786. So I think if there's an area that, if tech cools off a little bit for like, a week or two, maybe even more, XLV, this is hated, super hated, and it's performing at a 24-year low relative to SPY. So just some interesting thoughts on healthcare there while we were thinking about the Dow. This made me think of UNH, but anyway, SMH here, down, fractionally, but you still kind of have a flag pattern. It's going to need to do a lot here in order to get through all this. Look at this. These are all buyers that were looking for, Nvidia is going to just go back to, new highs, and we're going to carry it up. So they're all stuck here. It's going to take some time to get through that. What won't take time though is my favorite, IGV. Maybe it's, maybe it's a pullback here off of that Pierce trend line. But this is super strong. I mean, it's not even that far from all-time highs. Again, I've been on that train for a long time, but again, resistance up here at 106, 107. Transports, having a nice day. Again, failure, give that the upside bias. Once it gets through this, it's back to the 200 and all these pivots down here. So a lot of canceled recession forecasts coming out. Pretty much all these banks now. Don't you love how they wait until the correction's over? But anyway, 2 year. So yields were up across the board today. But this could still be a lower high on the 2 year, and if it is, that's going to increase rate cut odds for next month. Long end of the curve held up off of the lows today, but it was kind of finished flat. Again, still a really good pattern there on the 30 year. The only thing I can think of with the 30 year is that it's almost like it's too obvious. Maybe, I don't know, maybe TLT gets a shakeout bid, but that longer term trend is up on the long end yields. Housing today, XHB up 1.6. That's I like that. You got a higher low there, so I would say it's got a chance here. It still probably needs a little bit of time, but I like that little higher low attempt there on XHB. Means we can try to work back up here. VNQ as well, nice. We talked about that. I said, look, if it can firm back up in this range, the higher low there, that can start to work its way too. So housing looking a little bit better. XLF, again, up 33 cents here outside of that range. And you still got these highs to get through, but again, trend is up. These gaps here don't, a lot of people think that they're, it's a sign of weakness, but when you gap above key levels, it's a sign of strength. ARE, again, same thing. It went nowhere after clearing the 200. It did close the week above that, even though it closed red today. Right, and we closed above all the moving averages on the weekly too, and closed above that red bar and that red bar. So you negated a big breakdown here. So again, not, just to be clear, not really bearish, big picture. And yeah, broker dealer is closing at new all-time highs on all time frames. So not really bearish big picture, but market definitely stretched here. Anyway, oil continuing to hold up, trying to get a higher low. We talked about the 382 yesterday. I like what the 4 hour is doing. So it had a little inside bar there. It started to work its way back up to 62. If it can clear 62, it's got very good odds of just going right through 64, I think. And then back up to, you know, mid 60s, 65, 66. XLE, again, hammering on resistance right here. So that's holding up. And it closed, well, it closed like right on this level, but it closed the week above that panic bar. So that's a good sign. XOP holding the gap for now. OIH still the laggard. So, you know, if you want to pick something else, here's another contrarian idea, I guess, in addition to XLV. I mean, on one hand, yeah, it hasn't performed well, which is a concern, but at the same time, I mean, it might be so hated that it might actually rally. So energy is interesting to me here. CCJ having another decent week. Nothing major though. It's got a big gap in this area. A lot of trap buyers in that. So URNM did roll over a little bit, as did NJ. So you're going to want to see higher lows there for an advance back to 18 again. And if you can hit that again with a higher low, got a decent chance of getting through. Nat gas, watching the head and shoulders, but again, I don't love head and shoulders on nat gas because here's your contracts, right? These are your contract periods. It's not, you know, you can't look at it like a stock. It's very short term oriented. Dollar held up today. Dollar was actually mooning today at one point. It closed off the highs, but yeah, it held up pretty well. Dollar yen here, and interesting. Closed green. But if this ends up being a lower high, that could be a problem for the market. So I see potential headwinds. We had potential headwinds over the last couple of weeks. I talked about them last week, but we also talked about the fact that they wouldn't matter, and they can next week. That's sort of the point here. Anyway, gold, you know, it's hanging in there. It's down today. Held the 50 MA. Weekly chart, zero damage whatsoever. None. This is still supportive right now into next month from what I can see. That could change, but what I can see, it is supportive in the next month. Silver, SLV, pretty supportive in the next month too, as long as it stays, you know, mostly above 29. And that, even then, if it goes down, it's not the end of the world. But really with silver here, I drew on this flag yesterday, and I talked about this yesterday about firming up. I mean, yeah, it's a flag pattern, but I'd like to see it do something like, you know, if it's going to go attack this high, it's going to need to, like this seller here that did this is not some chump. Like they have big money, right? So you're going to need to see this break up out of this first. And then it's probably going to have to do that, right? If it's going to break this level. This level is decades in the making, literally decades. Like this has been a level since like almost as long as I've been a trader, like literally. So, but yeah, right there, boom, boom, boom. And yeah, it's a matter of time. It's going to happen, but in the near term, it's going to be hard to get momentum to break that from here, if that makes sense. All right. Anyway, platinum, that's coiled. That's ready. That can move if it wants to. I know this trend line is kind of like sloppy, but we could even, yeah, let's do this. Let's just adjust it. That's not bad. And even if it comes down, if we can put in a higher low, we can push through that. Platinum looks about the same too. So it kind of got above this trend line here, and there's another one we could even make a case for. It's more minor. Yeah, it's not really that good, is it? You know, it didn't really cleanly. You kind of make a case it should look like this, and then there's your back test, I guess. But it looks all right. It looks positive. So we'll see if they can build on that next week. Copper still is irrelevant to me at this point. Bitcoin holding up, bullish inside bar, didn't break out, but this 20 MA is catching up. Trend is up. 50 crossing the 100 is never a bad thing. And alts had a decent day today too. Pretty much everything green there. No problems here. So yeah, again, overall, it's been a ridiculous squeeze, and it's funny. Like I've been saying, like don't, you know, like this is normal. Don't fight it. You know, don't. This is actually a power move. Don't fight it. It's going to go higher. But even like today, like this afternoon, I was like, even I feel like a bear for being like, dude, what is this? You know. So incredible move here. 59.50. So they closed it above, but that positive flow will roll off, and at the very latest by Wednesday. That doesn't mean we can't tag 6,000 first, but I don't think there's much upside near term after that here. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. See you guys all next week.